All right, 10 things that you guys need to do before the rental or during the rental to avoid problems with your customers. First and foremost, you need to check the location. Now you could do this online with Google Maps or one of the other services that are out there to kind of see what the yard looks like and see how the layout is, to see if there are fences and things that you got to go through to just kind of get all the lay of the land before you get there. You can do this, you don't have to do this with everyone, especially if you're familiar with the yard. If you've done a repeat customer or something like that, you don't have to do it. But if you have a new customer and you're trying to figure things out, you need to check the layout. And the reason is the customer doesn't know. They don't know what's a 40-foot whatever is, and they don't know what 40 foot is, so they don't know if they have that kind of room in between their pool or their play set or their whatever. Also, there may be some expectations from customers about the layout as far as power and water and things like that. So, and although you may not be able to see this on a Google map or something like that, you can see if the yard is clear further away, and that will generally tell you that maybe I need to try to work with the customer and try to figure out what this is, because you don't want to do something that's so far away that you can't run the power, or you don't have enough hoses to run the water, or whatever the circumstance may be. So make sure that you do that. First and foremost, check out the lay of the land. Number two, and this kind of goes along with number one, is you need to figure out if it's a different location, if it's an event location, if it's a park, if it's what the situation at fairgrounds, a wedding venue, whatever the situation is. And the reason why is because some of them don't allow certain things. They won't allow water slides. They don't allow bounce houses at some of the parks because they don't have the power for it. And again, the customer doesn't have a reality grip when it comes to figuring out that power is essential. Now, we don't provide power. We tell our customers that they have to provide power and how much power they need. And again, you need to let them know that if you need a 20 amp circuit per blower and it has to be a separate circuit, they don't understand that. They think that a circuit means a plug-in, and there's two of them on this one little outlet right here, and I got a power strip. You can plug 6 into that, so I've got 7, 8 plug-ins right here for you. No, they don't have any kind of clue about that. So you're gonna have to educate them, and you're also going to have to make the decision, because what's going to happen is that they're going to say, just do it, it'll be okay, it'll be okay, it'll be okay. And then when it's not okay, they're going to be upset because you're the expert. You're the one that's supposed to know, about power. You're supposed to provide power and water. And, I don't know what they think, that we're going to truck a tank of water in, or, just, create power out of thin air. But you need to make sure that you understand you're the expert on this, and you're the one that's doing the layout. And sometimes you need to tell them no, or you need to tell them that there's a different way of doing it. And the only way you do that is to make sure you know your parks, make sure you know your venues around them. And if you don't know them, give them a call, find out. Some of the parks require that you have a certain level of insurance and that you have your tax ID. We had a park that just told us that we needed our business license to ensure that we were paying for local taxes. So you need to make sure, and honestly, to tell you the truth, I love that when parks do it, because I'm set up for all that. And what it does is it keeps people who are not serious about the business, or who really shouldn't be doing those kind of events, it keeps them out. But at the same time, it creates a situation where there's a lot of hurdles. So generate these relationships with the people in the parks and recs beforehand, and you won't have to worry about it. You can call them up and say, hey, whatever your name, Susan, or whatever your name is at the parks, it's me again. I'm going to do another bounce house. You've got all my insurance on file, whatever. One of my parks made me submit the E-Verify.
E-Verify, yeah.
It made me submit an E-Verify. We're a family-run business. It's me and my wife and our children, and we have some people that work us that are temp agents or some subcontractors. But that becomes a big issue when you're talking about E-Verify, how you're trying to dig through all this information and get it all turned in and the whole 9 yards. So again, make sure you've handled that beforehand so you don't have to worry about it, because again, the customer is going to be mad because you ruined their party, even though the park is the one that told them that they couldn't have it. Making sure that you know what equipment you're going to need when you're going to need it. Okay, that's number 3. Are you going to need hand trucks? Are you going to need sandbags as opposed to stakes? Are you going to need more hoses? Are you going to need a generator? Are you going to need, whatever it is to make the party happen and to get the situation going? Now, this isn't to say that you can't. Again, if they need a generator, you need to let the customer know that's an extra fee and the whole 9 yards. But if they're saying that they need a hose and you've got the hoses to do it, those are simple things that make people happy, and it eliminates problems. Listen, if you can eliminate the problem without questioning, without arguing, without fighting, without any of that, it is worth it for your peace of mind, your well-being, and the customer will always say, man, it ran smoothly. I didn't even have a single hitch. He needed an extra hose and voila, he had it on his truck, or whatever. That's the kind of thing that you need to shoot for, is having that stuff readily available if you can. A splitter for a hose if you got multiple water units. What are you going to do? Or you go to a customer and say, hey, I need a splitter. They have no idea what that is. They have no clue what you're talking about or how it functions. Or if they do, why am I supplying equipment for you? Why am I doing, your job? So again, you need to make sure that you have a list of all the stuff that you're going to need. And I'll put a list together and maybe drop it down in the comments for you guys of things that you would need, tools that you need. And also, if you guys can think of anything, let you put it in the comments as well. Let everybody know some other things that they may need that would be essential for those customers that would just kind of even it out and make the problems go away before they got there. What are we at, number 4?
Yeah.
Number 4, cleaning supplies and cleaning your unit. I don't care if you just cleaned your unit. Clean your unit. Clean it in front of the customer. Clean your unit. Again, wipe it down at the very least, have a bucket of handy wipes with you and just wipe it down. And the reason why is, 1, you never get it totally clean. There's a whole lot of nooks and crannies in these inflatables that grass and debris and stuff will fall down into. And then when you fold it and deflate it, all that stuff releases the tension that was holding it in place, and then it comes out and it's all over your unit, and you'll unfold it and there'll be grass, or there'll be a myriad of things inside the unit. So make sure you have the tools that you need to clean it, either a blower or a vacuum or a brush, a broom, and then whatever you're going to use to disinfect or clean with it, whatever detergent, and then wipes or rags or whatever you're going to do. I want to caution you guys, there's a couple things. If you wipe this unit down and pull the rag away and it looks like a nightmare, and the customer sees that, they're going to be put off. So be discreet about your cleaning, but at the same time, make sure that they see that you're doing it. Let them know, hey, it's going to take us about 10 or 15 minutes. We're going to wipe it down, clean it. We cleaned it at the shop, but we're going to clean it again and disinfect it for you guys to make sure that it's sanitized and ready to go. And that will give them a peace of mind, and will also make it where they don't feel like they need to stand over you and watch and make sure that you're doing this. I have a disconnect, and again, I'm not picking on the customer. I love our customers and everything, but I have seen some terrible yards with dogs that have been in the backyard and all kind of things, and their biggest concern is the cleanliness of our units. And again, I'm not saying that the units should not be clean. They should absolutely be clean. But you need to understand that the standard of the house does not dictate the standard of the unit. You need to have clean units. You need to have sanitized units, something that they feel comfortable with, because you're representing your company, you're not representing them. And it doesn't matter what their yard looks like or what their house or anything like that looks like. You're representing something that it should be better and cleaner in the whole 9 yards. And that goes for, things that would allow you, and we'll name this number 5, things that would allow you to keep it clean during the event. So whatever tarps that you got, whatever, placing the unit so it goes down the slope and that the water goes off the unit properly and it's not going uphill and back feeding into the unit is huge. So placing that unit, and again, sometimes it's going to be very, very difficult because they want to look at the kids and they want to see what's going on, and if you put it downhill, it's facing away from them, but you try to find a happy medium if you can, or a place where they can both see it and it's going downhill. And that would be much, much better. Now, we don't tarp the whole units when we do it, and we probably should, but the problem is that we're so big. If you did 50 units in a weekend, 50 water slides in a weekend, or 55 water slides in a weekend, and you had these ginormous tarps, we'd have to have a whole warehouse just for the tarps, because that's 55 ginormous tarps alone would be just humongous. So we usually tarp entrances and exits and things like that, and we save the bigger tarps for things that they have to get off of and come back around to, or we will tarp entrance and exits on those kind of things. So just keep that in mind, things that you can utilize to keep them clean. And hey, there's nothing to say that when you go to pick up that you can't blow it up and do an inspection. Try to do a little bit of cleaning at that time, get all the debris and stuff off, especially leaves. I've seen a ton of you guys talk about the leaf stains on the units and how do you get them out. Nothing will clean them, and you can avoid them if you get the leaves off the unit. Okay, so removing the leaf from the unit before you roll it up will stop that leach of that pigment from the leaf onto the unit, and that's what's causing the stain. So you can do that if you make sure you clean those units before, or at least blow them off with a blower before you leave, and make sure that doesn't get rolled up in there. And then again, other things that you can do at the same time is check for any kind of damage or anything like that. And that's super important, because there's nothing worse than finding it out later on. Now, I'm not going to give you a remedy for damage, because honestly, to tell you the truth, there is no remedy. It just really depends on the situation. If you do find damage, if it's severe damage and it looks like intentional damage, you definitely need to broach it with the customer. If it's minor damage and it looks like it's something that's unintentional, we had a good customer here recently that set off some fireworks close to it, and our whole unit was covered with the debris of fireworks, and there was a small quarter-size hole in the unit that had burned from the fireworks. Now, this customer has been our customer since probably 2012, 2005. I mean, just 19 years. We've seen children and grandchildren through this customer. What am I going to say to this customer, to do this? Basically, the fix is going to be a patch, because it's on the side wall of the unit on the outside of the water slide. It's not anywhere on the inside. It's not the slide mat. It's not something that the kids can get hurt on. Literally, it's something that I need to plug because it keeps air from going out. So it's literally a patch. That's all it is, and the patch kit came with the unit. I have patch kits. I'm going to patch it up. It's not a big deal. Again, I'm going to tell the customer about it, and I'm going to say, hey, in the future, please be careful with the fireworks, because this is what happens. And they're going to feel terrible, but they're also going to be very, very mindful of the fact that I wasn't the guy that, oh, I'm going to sue you for $5 gazillion because you put a hole in my slide. That never works out on that kind of situation. Now, on the other situation where you have somebody who is intentionally tearing stuff up, you really are letting the dog chew it up, and even after you warned them, we had a customer that we warned them, if you leave this in the backyard and you let the dog out, it will chew the unit up. Oh no, the dog's good, and we'll make sure we keep him inside. And then we went to go pick it up, and the dog had chewed several parts of the slide and made a big mess. We did put a repair charge on those people simply because we broached the subject, and we tried to tell them, and they still continued to allow it to happen. And the dog chewed up one of our cords, and as you know, a cord these days are about $125. So they had to replace a cord, and then we charged them some for the repair of the unit. But anyway, long story short, and I've done tons of videos on what you should do about fines and fees and things like that. But be mindful of those kind of things beforehand. Number six way to not make your customers mad at you is stay off the grass. I've had two employees now that have driven in customers' grass and caused ruts in the grass, and really upset the customers because they thought that their septic was damaged. They thought that the ruts were ugly in their front yard, and everybody saw it and everything. And don't drive anywhere that you don't have permission. Rule 1. Rule 2, don't drive even if you have permission if the ground is soft or it's been raining, because they're going to give you permission, and then you're going to put ruts in their yard, and then they're going to say, hey, you tore up my yard. Don't do that either. So check the yard, which means get out of the vehicle, park it, get out of the vehicle, go talk to the customer, walk the ground. If they say it's okay to drive on it, walk on it. Make sure that it's firm. Make sure that there's ask them, hey, where's your septic? Because again, some people won't know that you could fall into a septic tank. I fell into a septic tank. I know exactly how you do it. And it's not a fun process, and it's very disruptive for you, for the customer. It's hard to have a party when there's an open pit with a septic tank there. There's a lot of problems. On top of the fact that, you may damage your vehicle or get stuck or, whatever. So you're going to be in trouble and delayed and the whole 9 yards. So again, driving on people's property, if you need to get hand trucks, get hand trucks. If you need to get, the electric hand trucks, get those. But be prepared not to drive through people's grass, because it's not going to be, it's not going to work out for you, I promise. And in the end, again, you're supposed to be the expert. They're gonna blame you for any problems. There are sprinkler heads, there are water lines, there are septic tanks, there are just a ton of things that they've got buried in the ground that can be a problem for you if you do that. So make sure you don't do that. Ask permission and check the ground before you do it. All right, number 7. Be on time. Schedule your deliveries and be on time. Do what you need to do to figure it out. This is the way that I figure my schedule out. Do I have enough time to have a flat tire and still do my event? Do I have enough time to for something to happen and me have to go back to the shop and then back here? Make sure that you show up on time. That can really make a customer angry if you are late for the party. Also, communicate when you're going to show up, which day you're going to show up, which time you're going to show up, when you're going to pick it up. Customers just really want to know the information, and the more information you give them, the more you can kind of alleviate any of those problems that may pop up because of things going on. This being said, be very, very careful. Don't let a customer tie you into a time unless you want them to. I had a customer just the other day that asked when we were bringing the unit, and I told them that we would be in their area probably in about an hour. And she said, okay, well, I'll see you in an hour. And I, whoa, no. I will be in your area in an hour. I've got 3 other units that's going on during the same time. It may be 1 to 3 hours. We'll text you when we're on the way and give you a heads up. And then she kind of had a clearer picture. If I would have left it the way it was, she would have expected me in an hour. In an hour and 5 minutes, she would have been calling me and saying, hey, where are you guys at? Blah, 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 blah. Can't do that. So you guys, keep that in mind. Don't fee your customer to death. Don't make up fees and every time there's something that goes on, you have to add another additional cost to the customer and stuff like that. Customers like stability. They like to know that they can count on you, and that includes your price range. There's nothing wrong with going up on your prices because of yearly expenses and stuff going up if you add 5% or whatever it is. But you need to also kind of build your business in such a way that you are absorbing some of the peaks and valleys. So keep that in mind when you're pricing your units. If you're putting out bounce houses for $60 during the good times, and then all of a sudden gas prices go up and other things happen, and insurance or whatever the situation is, and you're forced to raise your prices, your customers are going to be looking for that $60 bounce house, and shame on you for doing $60 bounce houses. So keep that in mind. I would much rather you do $100 bounce houses in the good times and make that profit and keep your inventory fresh and do all the things that make your company better. And then when the hard times hit, you just kind of take the hit, and because you're well above your profit margin. That is a much better business plan than going the other way. Now, the flip side is also true. I can't tell you how many customers have told me that, they talked to someone else and they wanted $500 for a delivery fee on one unit, or a dunk tank of all things. And, that kind of stuff, just tell them that you can't come. Just tell them that they're out of your delivery area. Don't tell them that kind of stuff, because what happens is that you create a jaded customer who literally starts looking for other stuff in the industry, who starts looking for other things to enjoy, put their time, their entertainment at use and things like that. They're not going to mess around with companies that are obviously just ripping them off and taking money for no reason. Stop. Don't do it. Don't do it to my customers. Don't do it to your customers, because it's just bad business all the way around. And listen, what you do affects all of us. What I do affects all of us. And you may have whatever your beliefs are in competition and dealing with people who are in the industry working against you or working for another company or whatever you feel. You may not like them, the whole 9 yards. But inevitably, for the sake of the industry, for the sake of customers, for the sake of what we're trying to achieve here, which is create wholesome, value added entertainment for families and children, and step up to that staple that we are. for celebrations and events and birthdays and things like that, you need to do what's right for the customer. And if that means giving away, a sale or whatever, that's what you need to do. It will come back to you. Business karma is absolutely a real thing. So remember that. Stop finding and feeding and over the top the customers all the time, because it's not going to work. It's no good for you. It's no good for the customer all the way around. Overbooking your units is a huge problem, and I get calls almost weekly where the customer said, hey, I had this person who told me that they were bringing a unit and they said that they were overbooked now and tomorrow's my party and I don't know what to do. I've overbooked in the past, so it's not something that's unheard of. But honestly, in this day and age, your reservation system should be handling all of that. And the only way that you should overbook is if there's an issue with a unit, or something happens where a unit gets locked in a gym or something crazy like that. That should be the only way that your bookings are overlapping. Now, our reservation system is set up to where we have a down day in between a rental. So if we rent it one day, the next day it's not available, and then it becomes available on the second day. And that down day allows us to do all our cleaning and sorting and repacking and doing everything that we need to do to make sure that the unit is ready to go to the next customer. Not everyone can do that, because if you don't have 100 units, it's very, very difficult to make a profit, especially if you're trying to do a weekend and you have Saturdays and Sunday rentals and you're trying to monetize on both ends. So I guess what you really need to do is make sure that you're paying attention to your reservation system, paying attention to your inventory, and not getting in a situation where you're overbooking or booking the unit twice, so that one customer is losing out and the other customer is getting a unit, because inevitably they will never come back to you. It's over. You've lost. You would be better suited to you going and finding another slide, renting it and taking it to their house and taking the loss, because that customer is gone. You won't get them back.
Always substitute.
Yeah. The other thing that you can do is trade up or substitute up, meaning give your customers an upgrade, give them a bigger unit, give them a better unit, give them a newer unit, whatever. You always go up, you never go down. If you have to go down, then you double up. Does that make sense? If they wanted a combo and your combo was stolen the night before, you can give them a bounce house and a slide, but it better be comparable in size and everything, and it better be a better price model than the combo was before. So what you're doing is creating a situation where they're getting more for their bucks, and then just explain it to them. Listen, the unit was stolen last night. I'm going to take care of you, my customer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bounce house and a slide. That way the kids can have their fun, and there's more to it in the whole 9 yards. Now when you do this, you've got to go right back to what we were saying before and make sure you have power worked out. Make sure because you can give all you want to give, but if you put them in a situation where their party is the breaker pops every 5 minutes and they the bounce house keeps going down, it's no good to them. So you have to make sure that what you're giving them is a viable substitute, and it's something that they can use. It fits in their yard. That kind of thing. It's not crazy themed, so obviously you're not going to put a pirate for a princess party or whatever. So think of all those things when you're doing this, but you always substitute up and give the customer the value, because inevitably you were the one that made the promise. You're the one that is providing the stuff. So make sure you do that. What I wanted to leave you guys is probably the final thing, or the bonus thing, and that is that always leave it better than you came. It may not be your trash, but you need to pick it up. Don't be loud. You know, if you're picking up at 8 o'clock on Sunday night or whatever, you know, remember some kids are in bed, and you know, some parents put their kids to bed early so that they can go to school the next day or whatever. So remember that. Don't be banging, you know, stakes in the back of the truck or slamming van doors, or you know, whatever your employees do, whatever my employees do. Keep that stuff in mind, because again, you're in their yard, you're in their home, you need to respect that. You need to respect. How would you want, you know, to be treated? Watch the language. You know, your guys don't need to be cussing because there's kids there and the whole night. Spitting in the yard, hocking loogies, or you know, whatever. You know, the old you know, bending over in the butt crack, hanging out. You know, the clothes aren't right, don't fit right, or you know, whatever. Smelling. If your guys smell, send some deodorant with them, because literally nobody wants to put up with that, especially your customers. Keep all that in mind. You're in somebody's home. Treat it like that. Treat it like you're going to someone's home. And how would you go? Would you go stinking and smelling and cussing and spitting in somebody's home that you liked or respected, or you know, whatever? If they didn't like that kind of stuff, certainly you wouldn't do it. So don't do it. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're being seen in that light. Treat their home with the respect that it deserves. And again, going back to what we said before, the condition of their home or whatever is not a reflection of what your service should be. You don't serve down because, you know, somebody lives in a poor neighborhood, or you know, has a house that is in disrepair, or whatever. Your service should be constant, and it should be impeccable, and it should be always the same. You treat every customer the same, and they're always that way. Hey, if you guys, again, if you could think of anything else to put in there, let me know. Drop it in there. Give us some thumbs up, some subscribes, and keep watching these channels, and we appreciate it. Share it. Let everybody know that you know, you saw the absolute best information you could get right here on this channel. And we'll be back next time. Thanks.